Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live stream Tuesday. And I always seem to start the live streams laughing because of how I've only just set them up, or in this case, how things just start going wrong as soon as you're about to live stream. And tonight it was the sound that didn't work and my mic wasn't working properly. I had to try and figure out what was going on, doing lots of troubleshooting, literally at like 1 minute to 11. And yeah, it always takes a little bit of time for me to figure things out, but we are live. And even when things don't go particularly well, I just start as soon as possible anyway. So if things all go wrong, as is always the case with the live streams, that's probably why, because I haven't actually spent time double checking everything. But I start setting these up an hour before we actually go live. So it's always the case, everything works until like 1 minute to, and then everything that was working decides not to work. But anyway, we're now working, I do believe. So hello everybody in that live chat room. Thank you for joining me tonight. We have in there Common Sensible, Ginny, Karen, Dawn, Terry, Stardust Unicorn going through with an early donation, support band to Wings of Pegasus. Thank you for that, $7.99. As I always say, you don't have to donate, just watching is fantastic. But we will get into all of the donations as always, and into the PayPal thing as well, and we'll get into that in a second. But as I always say, you don't have to donate. But thank you for that, Stardust Unicorn. And Janice is in there, Suzanne. And then it's going really quickly, so I can't see what's going on. I can see Elaine's in there. Vince as well. PN112. Hello, everybody. And this is where I don't say like other channels that say, okay, let's just wait for people to come in. I just talk to whoever's in the room at the time when I go live, whether that be one person or 202 people as are in there at the moment. So, right, let's get organised with the live stream for tonight. As always, we have the names of my patrons going across the bottom of the screen because they make this all possible in the first place. So a massive shout out and thank you to these lovely people at the bottom of the screen for just making the channel possible in the first place. All of the videos, the analysis videos, the live streams, you know who you are. Right, we also have a likes goal like we have on every live stream. And this is set at 330 tonight for a Tuesday night. That's quite a big target. We will have to hit every single thumbs up, or at least get every single thumbs up we can find. If you come through the door, if you can hit that thumbs up, that would be great. And as you come through the door, it would be even better, because you wouldn't know if you've come through the door or not. Or maybe it's a question you're maybe thinking about clicking on watching the live stream, in which case I don't think you can like it without watching it. Anyway, basically every thumbs up really does help the channel to get out there a little bit more, for the channel to grow, but for these live streams to get out there as well. And talking about growing, we've gone up to 312,000 subscribers. So thank you guys for subscribing as well. And this is the point at which everybody goes crazy and drowns out my voice, because I get that up on screen. 312,000 subscribers, and now it is official. So yeah, things have been moving quite quickly on the channel recently, and I'm going to get this off the screen so you can hear what I'm saying. And the last video that I released, it wasn't last night because that was an admin day. It was the night before, which was Sunday night, about the Eagles and auto-tune, pitch correction, all that kind of stuff. That video has had, quite a lot of views. I think over 50,000 now, something like that. So things have been super busy, but it's great as well. We do certainly ride the roller coaster of YouTube, and sometimes it happens that lots of people start subscribing at once. But I think that kind of video, it's just one of those that people get involved with and start commenting, because it's more of a discussion really than a video, because I think a lot of people actually don't agree, the same as me really, don't agree with auto-tuning and pitch correcting old performances. So yeah, I'm sure we'll have some reference to that in tonight's live stream, being that it was quite a popular video. A lot of people watched it, but it's also just a bit of a talking point that yeah, these live performances are getting auto-tuned and pitch corrected so they don't sound like they did back in the 70s. And I think that was 1977 from memory, that particular performance where it had been changed and we were listening to the auto-tuned vocal. So anyway, let me get everything up on screen so that I don't forget anything. We will get the lycometer up on screen as well, but before I do, I'm going to make sure that the screen capture hasn't moved, and when I say that it hasn't moved, it has moved, so I'm going to have to get that over there in order to capture that screen to show the lycometer, which is showing 193 likes. So quite a lot of you hit that thumbs up. Thank you for that. And I can see that 212 people are watching at the moment, which means we have 18 people that haven't hit the thumbs up. I don't know. That's well beyond my mathematical capabilities to work things out that quickly. So anyway, maybe some people haven't hit the thumbs up, but if you could hit that thumbs up, that would be great. If we do hit our target of 330 tonight, we are going to be having Phil Jam number 33. And if you haven't seen the live streams before, or a Phil Jam before, what happens is we have some tracks, I can't remember how many, maybe like 40 or something like that, tracks that Joe has sent me through. If we hit that target, then we go to number 33 in that list, we click on it, and then we try and play along to whatever it is. So that's what a Phil Jam is. And yeah, as for how long it lasts, again, that's something that I don't really look into, but sometimes before we do the Phil Jam, I do see what Joe has put on there as to how long each one is, so that we can actually fit in the Phil Jam if we do indeed hit the target. So yeah, 219 likes so far, which means we need 100 and I was going to say 111, but now 110, and now 109. Just count all the way through the live stream, counting down how many likes we need. But I think that is correct, that we're looking for 109 more people to hit the thumbs up, obviously by the end of the live stream. We don't have to do it now. And I mean, let's get the hair talk out of the way early. You can obviously see sometimes my hair is just allergic to my face, and it kind of repels itself. And it's funny because my hairdresser, when she was cutting my hair, she was having, and this is a couple of weeks ago, she was having to hold down my hair to see how long it was, because it just pops up again. So she'd hold it down to cut it, and then it'd go back to popping up. So this is the problem, that even for my hairdresser, the gravity defying abilities of my hair is a bit of a pain, because the normal people's hair, I'm sure, just goes down, whereas mine, yeah, for some reason just likes to go up towards the ceiling sometimes. And generally, I mean, it's doing it actually on both sides, as you can see, but generally it only does it on one side, so it looks really weird. Anyway, that's the hair talk done for tonight. We will jump into the donations, because there have been a few over on PayPal. Thank you guys for those. You don't have to donate. And for those of you that can't resist, I think it's important that you know between 35 and 45% goes to YouTube through the super chat window, and those are the pictures and things that you can click on in this particular live stream. But through the PayPal link that's in the description below, between 3 and 5% goes to PayPal. So there you have the figures, just in case you can't resist donating. So you get an equal lay of the land. You know exactly where your money goes. Right. So getting into the PayPal donations that came through, there was one that came through right at the end of the last live stream, and the live stream just finished, and then this came through, and it is from Nicole, who donated £8.21. So thank you for that, Nicole. And the message was, "Hello Phil, I can't resist a little donation and my sweet kisses tonight!" Exclamation marks. Thank you for that, Nicole. But yeah, that was at, or what would have that been, like 1:20 in the morning, and I think we finished at about maybe 18 minutes past 1, so it came in right as we finished the last live stream. But thank you for that, Nicole. And Amy donated £5 as well. Thank you for that, Amy, and that was on Sunday at 11:37 in the morning, to be exact. And Gabriella has donated £1, saying it's working again, so thank you for that. And this is Gabriella, who has the username, or at least the name appears as Lenky Gabriella on PayPal. So thank you for that. And she's followed it up with another £1 donation after that. So thank you again. Maybe that was just checking the PayPal thing worked. And Tammy donated £10 as well. Thank you for that, Tammy. And that was this afternoon. And the message is, hi Phil, if you could ask your favourite musician one question, who would you ask, and what would the question be? Rock. So thank you for that, Tammy. And yeah, I'm not really sure. This is probably something that I'd have to think about. I'd probably ask Jimi Hendrix about controlling feedback, because that's just something that for some reason he could control. Like, I don't know how he did it, but he just had control of feedback. And I mean, when I say that, I think it's one of the things that a lot of people and professional guitarists that I've spoken to who have actually, been lucky enough to have seen him live, they said that, yeah, he just had this control of feedback that was just on a totally different level. So it means that basically for people that don't play guitar, it meant that he could play his guitar at a really loud volume and control the feedback, which, to give an example of feedback, if somebody's talking on a microphone and you get that really nasty, high-pitched interference, when you've turned the microphone up too loud for the PA system, you get that feedback and it kind of pierces your ears. So it's something that you don't want. And it's when the PA's been turned up to pretty much its maximum volume, you then start getting a feedback loop between the mic and the speakers. But anyway, being able to control that to stop it from happening means that you can play at a really loud volume and you don't get that nasty sound with it. And that's something that Jimi Hendrix could do, and yeah, just could control feedback as well. So just make a note, sing for ages because he's getting that feedback loop, and generally in order to do that you have to go to a certain part of the stage so that you get that feedback loop starting, and then just hold the guitar in the same position. But yeah, Jimmy just had an ability for that. So if I could ask a question, and of course I'm taking for granted that that question applies for both dead and alive musicians, because that's probably the question I'd ask Jimmy, how he got used to doing that and how he kind of practiced doing it, whether it's something that he just did live, because trying to practice doing that is such a loud volume, you would certainly get complaints from your neighbours. But anyway, thank you for that, Tammy. And Paul has donated $5 as well. Thank you for that, Paul. And the message is 312,000 subscribers. Congratulations, Phil. Please spike those likes all y'all. So thank you for that. And great idea from Paul there. If you could hit that thumbs up, that would be great. We always keep an eye on that likeometer, which has jumped up to 247 now. So we are getting there. And Paul donated again straight after that, $5. Thank you again, Paul. And the message is, do you know if the artists of songs that were auto-tuned gave their permission to have their work modified that way? Asking for a good friend, Ginny White, who is an avid supporter while she is getting her PayPal account back in order. So thank you for that, Paul, for passing on that question. And artists aren't, they're not even in the loop, but they're not consulted about using auto-tune or pitch correction. This is something that happens in the studio, and it's sadly just a thing that is applied automatically now. Producers always do it, and it's I think unfortunately for the sound, a lot of people nowadays, especially the younger generation, are so used to hearing auto-tune and pitch correction and having that extra processed sound on the vocal that when they don't hear it, it doesn't sound modern because everything has it on there. And that's why artists who have recorded albums in the last 5 or 10 years, who used to record in the 80s and the 90s, have auto-tune and pitch correction applied to make it sound modern, because everyone's ears are getting used to this. So I think it's a big reason for why on reaction channels they enjoy listening to music from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s so much because it doesn't have the processed sound. It doesn't have that robotic sound to it. So of course it sounds totally different. So it's just something that's applied all the time. And in short, the artists aren't consulted about this. And it's something that I've mentioned about Eric Clapton in the past, how he's had his vocals auto-tuned. And it's a shame that the two that I've done referencing old performances from the 70s, actually the Queen performance that I looked at was late 70s as well, and the Eagles performance was 1977. So those tracks have been auto-tuned and then re-released. And this is another question that I get asked quite a lot about remastered songs when they're released, whether they've been auto-tuned or pitch corrected. Now, technically they shouldn't have been, because mastering isn't a process by which you go back to the mixing, and mixing is the process where you add any plugins that you want to add. So for example, if you've finished your song or you're mixing your song, and mixing is basically getting the levels, I mean it's a complicated process, mixing, but to really simplify it, mixing is where you get the levels of your instruments. So say for example, you've finished playing all of the instruments on your song, you've recorded the vocals, and your guitar is louder than the vocals, so you can't hear what you're saying. You make the vocal louder than the guitars, and say that you want the drums underneath the vocal and you want the guitars to not be as focused on as the drums, then you make the drums a bit louder. So anyway, very complicated process, but you mix your song, and while you're mixing your song you might think, oh, I want a bit of reverb on the vocal, so then you apply reverb to the vocal, and generally you'll have reverb on most of your instruments. I mean most people don't put it on bass guitar because you want that to be really clean and up front and always kind of in the middle of your mix and just giving you that reference point, but some people do just put a touch of reverb on the bass. So anyway, once you've gone through your mixing process, applied your effects, you might want to have delay on your voice or your guitar if you played a solo that didn't have delay on it, or you might want to put reverb on a particular backing vocal, all of this kind of stuff. That's all in the mixing process. If you want to auto-tune and pitch correct your vocal, that's mixing. That's the same time that you might go through it, and you'd probably do that first before putting reverb and delay on the voice. You could hear, people would say, oh, well, if they can hear that it's not quite hitting the note, then they will change it in order to drag it onto the note with pitch correction. But with what we were looking at and these performances, they are already on the note, so they don't have to be corrected. And this is why it's stupid that they are auto-tuning vocals that work so close to the note. They had the note and they had the expression, but now they're getting rid of the expression to make the note even as perfect as they can literally getting it, sticking it to a line, and it just sounds weird. So the mixing process is when that's all applied. Remastering is nothing to do with mixing. You've already done your mixing, you've got your song to sound how you want it to sound, and you give it to somebody to master. And mastering is it like an art form in itself, and this is why with my album and my songs I get them mastered by somebody else, because I've generally spent months listening to these same songs, so my brain is saturated by the sound. You need somebody to come along, or at least I think you need somebody to come along and listen to it with fresh ears to then master it. And what mastering does is, say for example, the mix is great, but there needs to be a little bit more punch in the snare. That's what happens with mastering. It's EQ differently, so that, say for example, where that snare happens, that particular frequency is then ever so slightly boosted to make it more punchy, so that it takes your attention more in the mix. The volume isn't turned up and turned down because that's mixing, but it is affected from a frequency standpoint to stand out more as a frequency. So it's like an art form in itself. So that's what remastering is. So it shouldn't be to do with mixing, auto-tune and pitch correction, but I wouldn't be surprised if the remastered things have actually effectively been remixed to add auto-tune. They've gone back to that stage. So that would have to be another whole investigation that I do, checking remastered versions and comparing them to the previous releases and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, hopefully it's not happening, because I mean, then it's false advertising if they are doing it, because remastering something isn't remixing. You either have remastering or remixing or remixed and remastered. That's something that happens as well. So they're two totally different processes. If they are auto-tuning and pitch correcting and just calling it remastering, then yeah, that is false advertising, and yeah, you could go to court for that kind of thing. So if I did an investigation and found that that was happening, then a lot of companies, record companies, would have a lot of problems, because like this Milli Vanilli case that I always refer back to, people got their money back for every single sale of the song because it was sold to them with the people thinking that it was the two guys singing when it wasn't. So it was false advertising, so people could claim their money back from the record label. So if it was the case, or if it is the case that they are auto-tuning vocals, calling it remastered, then that's false advertising, and therefore every single wow, this would be a bit of a mess for the record companies, but every single sale download that they made on an album that contained that song, or a single release that contained that song, they would have to then give the people their money back for that particular song. So you can imagine that, yeah, it would be very messy if it actually is starting to happen that they're doing that. So yeah, I mean, I don't even want to think about, getting into that. Because yeah, the whole music industry would be turned upside down, because yeah, you've sold something saying it's something. It's like, I guess it's like having a painting, advertising it as an original. You sell it for a couple of £1 million, and then somebody gets it home and looks at it and realises it's been printed off, that it isn't the original. They would get their money back. So that's what the false advertising thing. That's exactly what would be happening to the recording labels, or the recording industry as a whole, but the record labels as selling things actually as not what they should be, and saying that the vocal is the original, it's just been remastered, rather than saying that actually it's been auto-tuned, which isn't a remastering process. Anyway, let's move on to the donations. Thank you again for that, Paul. And Steve has donated £5 as well. Thank you for that, Steve. And the message is, outside of family harmonies like the Beach Boys, Andrews Sisters and Bee Gees, who do you think have the best harmonies? So thank you for that, Steve. And I mean, this could be one for the live chat room to start throwing in some names of bands. But I mean, off the top of my head, obviously being a rock fan myself, I'd have to say Queen, because of not only the harmonies in the studio, but then performing the songs live and still having the ability to provide those harmonies. Because sometimes when you're listening to a song that's been recorded in the studio and then you go and watch the band live, if they have 3-part harmonies, for example, in the studio the lead singer might have harmonized with himself like 2 or 3 times, so you get that sound. But then when they perform live, the other band members don't have the ability to sing at that level, so it doesn't quite sound the same. But the thing is with Queen, I mean, they're just great musicians, but singers as well. So that's who I'd go for, probably Queen. And I mean, if I'm trying to think of other bands, Fleetwood Mac, maybe let's throw them in there. Because I mean, a lot of their songs had harmonies in there. And from an analysis point of view, what about the Seekers? I mean, they're one band that kind of stand out as just being great vocally and singing harmonies, as we've looked at in the analysis videos. Probably Crosby, Stills and Nash, or Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, if you want to throw in another voice there. But again, being great vocalists independently and then being able to harmonise with each other. And that's another thing to bring up, is that sometimes being great singers independently doesn't always mean that you're going to sound great as a harmony group, because you have to sing in a different way. You have to blend your voices when you're singing together with other vocalists, rather than you all belting out four separate lead vocals rather than them being harmony vocals. So that's the massive thing about singing with other singers, that you have to now approach your singing not as a lead vocalist but as a harmony vocalist, as a backing singer, and yeah, it's a totally different approach. So there you go. I mean, that's all that I know probably that what I've already mentioned tonight about the Eagles and auto-tune, pitch correction, that might have been the reason for that particular question. So yeah, let's obviously throw them in there as well, as they are on topic with tonight's live stream, and particularly on the channel recently with analysis videos. So yeah, let's throw them in there. But you guys can discuss that in the live chat room if you want to as well. Come up with some bands, some harmony bands that aren't related. So yeah, I think it is interesting how many groups but bands actually have members in that band that are related. So yeah, interesting one for you guys in the live chat room to discuss. But I will move on because I discuss it all night. Thank you, Debbie, as well, for this £10 donation over on PayPal. And the message is, hi Phil, great job explaining auto-tune / pitch correction on the Eagles analysis. Who gives permission for the songs to be corrected? You are amazing. Love you, Debbie. So thank you for that. And we had that question a little bit earlier, but nobody gives permission. This is it. It's just a process that producers, they just have free reign to do whatever they want with, especially if it's a band who is signed to a big label. The label says what happens. So they might record their song and then the producer just does what he wants to do with it. And sometimes bands do have a say in how it sounds, and generally younger bands don't. You have to be established usually to have a say over your own sound, because the record label knows that that sound sells. So it means that they're a little bit more willing to give the artist or the band that freedom, artistically, to make the music sound how they want it to sound, because they've already got that fan base. But this is the problem for younger bands, to have their own sound and say, oh no, we don't want you to produce it like that, we don't want you to apply auto-tune to it. That's something that the label will just overrule and say, well, we're going to do that anyway, because it's our money that we're putting into this. So yeah, sadly, yeah, nobody gives permission. It's just done. So thank you for that, Debbie. And Elaine has donated £7.53. Thank you for that. And the message is, your live streams and the analysis videos are such a treat. Love them. Brought your newest mug and love it. Rock. So thank you for that, Elaine. And for reminding me to actually give a plug of the mug, but a plug of the merchandise, which I always forget to do. So yes, if you want to get your hands on any merchandise, then you can do. Click on the tray underneath this video. That will take you through to any of the products, whatever you've clicked on. But there's also a link in the description below to go through to the spring.com store. And yeah, you can even go to wingsofpegasus.com/merch and click on the picture there. That will take you through to the spring.com store as well. So there you go. Thank you, Elaine, for giving me that opportunity to plug the mug. Right, there has been another donation over on PayPal, so thank you for this, Karen. And the message is the £3.76 donation, and the message is, hi Phil, congratulations on hitting 312,000 subscribers. I wonder if the part of your hair that keeps curling up might be called a cowlick. I'm not sure. I loved your Eagles analysis. Art, not auto-tune. Thanks for all you do and for being you. Cheers, Karen. So thank you for that, Karen. And I never heard of that before, a cowlick, but yeah, it's just curly hair. That's all it is, really. We don't have a word for it, I don't think. Maybe a tuft of hair, something like that. But anyway, I'm just checking if there's a question in there. And I don't think there was. So yeah, thank you for that. And I mean, what I can see is with my hair, I've got one, well, probably more than one strand, I think, by the looks of it, a strand of grey hair at the front here. I think it's on that side. And this is another thing with my hair. It's a total luck of the draw as to how it falls. Sometimes the grey ones are hidden under the ones that have still got colour in there, so I get away with it. But there's a character in X-Men, and I don't know what her name was, but this is something that Kip Winger, I think, had, and now I think maybe he's letting his grey hair come through a little bit more. But he just had maybe that's what happened to me. He just had a certain bit of grey hair that just always grew out like that, and the rest of it kept its colour. So I think it's quite a cool look. If I could do this every time, it's not going to happen every time, but if I could do it every time, it's just an interesting little kind of X-Men twist on hair. But anyway, thank you for that, Karen. We are now up to date in the PayPal window, and there have been some other donations in that super chat window. So thank you for this Marsha, who has donated $10, and it's what looks like a hippopotamus, hippo for short, wearing a cap, turning it the other way round, and then giving a thumbs up. So I'm not exactly sure what that means, but thank you for that, Marsha. And Sixes has donated $9 as well, so thank you for that. And the message is, I ask rock musicians 3 questions. Have you ever heard of Johnny Thunders, Chrissy Amphlett, Hilton, or I can't see, it's too small on my screen to say whether that's Heaton or Hilton Valentine. So thank you for that, Sixes. And Johnny Thunders, for some reason that rings a bell. I mean, it sounds like it should ring a bell with the kind of music that I'm into. Can't place it though. Chrissy Amphlett doesn't, and Hilton or Heighton Valentine doesn't either. So thank you for that. And Jeffrey has donated $5, and that's a straight up donation from Jeffrey, and it has this number 1 with the balloons next to it. So thank you for that, Jeffrey. And I now know that that means it's Jeffrey's first ever super chat donation. So yeah, thank you for that. As I always say, you don't have to donate, but every single donation is massively appreciated. So thank you, guys. And let's have a look at that likeometer, approaching 300 likes. So we need 4 more to hit the 300. If you could hit that thumbs up, that would be massively appreciated. And we are going to be, I haven't even mentioned about the let me have a look. I know that Hotel California is 55%. It's in the lead, but I can't remember the other one that was requested over on Patreon. It also had a short name, but I'm going to have to try and find it on my screen. Is it Broken Wings? So, yes, Broken Wings was the other one that we were voting for between. So, anyway, we are going to be jumping into that relatively soon. It's 20 to midnight here in the UK. So if you want to hear, I mean, Hotel California, you can just click on that, 55% of the vote. It's already in the lead, but if you want to hear a little bit of Mr. Broken Wings, then you can do. So let's jump over to PayPal again, because there has been another donation over there. So I will quickly get into that. And Lynn has donated £56 and 46 pence. So thank you for that, Lynn, a very kind donation over in that PayPal window. And the message is, Phil, thanks for explaining that there is a profit motive behind auto-tuning. Now it makes sense. Yes, I mean, this is the not only re-releasing something and changing it, you can then say it's a different version of a song, so you can get the same money again. And this is something that has well, it's not only taken off now, but it's just taken off all the time, especially getting close to Christmas. They will release albums that have just got the same songs on there that you've already got at home, but put it on in a different order, maybe with some different songs in a different order. So there's always like the ultimate, you know, Nat King Cole collection or something, and they'll just release a CD, and then the next year they'll say the essential Nat King Cole selection. It's the same songs, just in a different order. But they'll do it every Christmas, and certainly Nat King Cole's one of those voices that is a big part of my family's Christmas, every single Christmas. But yeah, they do that kind of thing all the time, and with all the Christmas songs that pop up every single year, they'll just change the order of it and release it on another Christmas album. So there you go. It's just a trick of the trade. And I mean, they'll do that with best of all the hits of a particular artist, and just every few years they'll start to do that and give like an essential collection, or remixed or remastered. It's just the same songs, but at least with a remix, it means that it's going to sound potentially quite different to the original release, and remastered can sound different as well. But sometimes the remasters can be a bit weird because they start panning things where they shouldn't really be panning things, just because, especially with the older recordings where they already sounded great, and then you start getting a different sound, which we did discuss in the live stream before. I can see that Vince says that was Rogue who had the streak of white hair, so thank you for that, Vince. And I think there's a character called Storm who might have just had all white hair, unless I'm imagining that. So maybe I can start off as Rogue and then eventually make my way to Storm. I don't know how long it's going to take, but we will see. That's just the deal. Every single second. I mean, I'm now exactly 43 minutes and 33 seconds older than I was at the beginning of this live stream, as we all are. So anyway, thank you for hitting that thumbs up, and I can see that we're 319, so we are pretty close. We need 10 more people. It's just gone to 320, so we need 10 more people to get us to that target for tonight of 330. Right, we will jump into maybe the cover video for tonight. 44 minutes past. I almost said midnight. It's something that I used to say all the time on the live streams when we did kick off an hour later. But now, to keep it all authentic, this is literally a Tuesday night live stream. It is live stream Tuesday here in the UK. It's not yet Wednesday. I always used to be live streaming on technically not the right day. So anyway, Sherry has donated $10. Thank you for that, Sherry. And it's got this number 1 next to the donation again. So thank you for this first super chat donation from Sherry. And the message is, I enjoyed your analysis of the Randy Meisner live, in inverted commas, performance. So thank you for that, Sherry. And this is it, that calling it live. I mean, the thing is, I always refer to live as unedited audio, so that everything you're hearing is as it was in that performance. Whereas now, performances that aren't live are being called live, and songs that have been auto-tuned and pitch corrected are being called live. And I don't call that live, even though people say, oh yeah, but they're and this is the definition that I've mentioned before about live. Now means that the person is there. It doesn't refer to the sound that you hear, whereas to me, I'm old-fashioned, so I always refer to live as meaning that what you're hearing is what's being produced, and they're actually doing it. So when you push down a string onto a fret of the guitar, you hear what the guitar's doing, and when you're singing, you're hearing the person's voice. Whereas now live doesn't mean that. It means that the person is actually there at the event at that time. So when you look at live videos, so when they say something like, we've looked at it in the past on the channel, looking at different performances where it was, say for example, Taylor Swift live at this event, and then we've looked at it and it wasn't live, but she was actually at the event, so that's why it's called live, that she was she was living at that particular event. So that's the difference, that there are loads of videos on YouTube that are called live, but they're not. So that's another thing to look out for. And I do point those out whenever I'm doing an analysis video on something that might be called live and it's not live. And I will say that. And I think a lot of people make the assumption on a lot of videos of thinking that it is live, because it might be like this. Like, say for example, I was playing my guitar and singing into this microphone and I didn't call it live. It might not be live. It might be a totally recorded track that I've, gone away. And yet some people do this, that they set it up like this and they play their guitar and sing as if they're doing it live, but they've already been through the whole track in Logic and recorded it, added reverb, done multiple takes of playing the guitar and singing, and then overdubbed it to the live looking performance. So that's another thing that happens, and I do point those out when I see them, like when the person's gone to the wrong chord because they've forgotten what they're doing. I will point that kind of thing out just to show people that, yeah, it's not live, even though obviously to make it look live seems more impressive, but then people naturally think that people just playing with the guitar and singing into a microphone, they assume that that's got to be live, but it's not. Unfortunately, there are loads of videos that are not doing it. And this is why when I refer to live, I mean actually live. Right, let's get into tonight's cover video, and it looks like it is going to be an Eagles themed live stream, because we're going to be jumping into Hotel California. And yes, that has 55% of the vote. So yeah, thank you for that. We are going to be jumping into it, and we are at 337 likes. I thought I'd check in on that just before we started. So we will be having a fill jam at the end of the live stream. So thank you guys for hitting that thumbs up. You can keep on hitting that thumbs up if you're watching this on the future, or in the future on catch up. You can hit that thumbs up. Every single like really does help this live stream to get out there and for the channel to grow on the whole. Right, so it's time for me to jump into the desert for this. I wasn't really in the desert, but anyway, as you will be able to tell. But my version of Hotel California. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you guys in a second. Rock!
On the dark desert highway, the cool wind in my hair, warm smell of colitas rising up through the air. Overhead in the distance, I saw a shimmering light. My head grew heavy and my sight grew dim. I had to stop for the night. Then she stood in the doorway. I heard the mission bell, and I was thinking to myself, this could be heaven or this could be hell. The idea of our own device. And in the master's chambers, they gathered for the feast. They stab it with their stealing knives, but they just can't kill the beast. Last thing I remember, I was running for the door. I had to find the passage back to the place I was before. Relax, said the night man, we're programmed to receive. You can check out anytime you like, but you may never leave.
And there we have it. That was my version of Hotel California. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Thank you for requesting that over on Patreon and Broken Wings, of course. But to you guys for voting for that one tonight in the poll. And I didn't even finish the poll, so thankfully it still was Hotel California that was winning with 55% of the vote. And yes, for those people asking in the live chat room, that normally any kind of covers from the Eagles and especially from Don Henley do get blocked on YouTube, as was the case with that. I mean, I couldn't show that cover when I first did it, but then it got manually reviewed by Don, and I'm assuming Don's team, and they saw fit to allow it on my channel. So yeah, I mean, that was good. And like I did just say in the live chat room, that my surname being Henley probably helped my cause a little bit to know that, yeah, I mean, hopefully as well it means that he doesn't mind my version of it, which is great, because I'm sure if he didn't like it, then he wouldn't allow it on YouTube. So yeah, I'm very thankful for that, to be able to play out my live streams, but just to be able to have it on YouTube in the first place, because I know that a lot of people just, you know, outright get rejected for having anything to do with the Eagles on their channel. So yeah, that was good to have it cleared. Anyway, let's get into a riff of the week. Shall we do that? I feel like maybe we should be jumping into that. We're not going to be having any pictures tonight, so no picture corner, but we will have a riff of the week. So what I'm going to have to do is make sure that I get the screen grab organised and all that kind of stuff. This is what happens when I just suddenly decide, oh, let's do a riff of the week, and realise that I haven't got the screen grabs set up or the screen casting, but we will do it anyway. I'm going to be looking into the live chat room, and I need a number, as you guys will know, regular viewers, between 1 and 100 to have a riff of the week. And while I wait for those numbers to come through, we're going to be jumping into the email that Laura has sent me for all of the riffs that we've done, and we've done quite a lot of them so far. So, right, that is loaded. That is good. It's ready to go. And let's have a little look through. Bonnie Sue says 72, and that rhymes, which is great. But we have had number 72 already. So let's have a look. We're getting lots of numbers now. 13, Joe By. Does that say? I think 13 we have had. And 33, Mary V. What is it with the rhyming tonight? 33, Mary V. We have not had number 33. So that is what we will be going for. I typed in Roth with an O instead of Riff. Therefore, got no results. There it is. Let's click on that and that.
Hey, music.
And hey, music producer.
Why do you wake up
There's an
early in
advert
the
on it. Hang on, let me... I'll tell you what. I'll mute that, let it play through. So this is one of those that has been claimed. So whoever does this originally, whatever the riff is, it's been claimed on copyright. So yeah, they've put adverts on it, which sometimes happens with the riffs of the week. Right, we will jump into this one. We're looking for the name of the song that this riff comes from. You can give me the name of the band, but for the official win, to get the W, then you have to name the song that this comes from. So we're going to be having a listen and see what it is. I'll tell you what, I'll get it on screen so you guys can actually see it. Might help for those of you that like to guess just from the hand movements. Not that anybody does that, by the way. Oh, I stopped it before The Rock, but wow, this is a cool one. I was gonna bang on the desk and say, turn it down or something like that, because that's something that happens over the top of this particular riff. So, yeah, I'm not actually sure if this riff is gonna be that well known, because it's definitely the beginning of this particular song, but the song doesn't have this riff in it. It might only have been on the music video for this song. So I'm going to scroll up to see if anybody's got it. But I think this is going to be really difficult for people to get. You've got to know the music video for this song. So yeah, this should be actually labelled as a lot more difficult riff. We had a little bit of harmony guitar going on there, or at least me playing along with me, playing rhythm. Right, let's have a scroll down and see if anybody can get it. Going down, Maria, of course, is Rainbow, which is always incorrect. Queen, Maria says Open Arms. So I'll let you know when a correct one comes through. Janice says Back in Black. One Way or Another. It's Corey. Rainbow by Maria again. Rainbow Land, Jimi Hendrix, Rainbow. Have you ever been to Rainbow Land? That could be a bit of a take on a Jimi Hendrix song. Anyway, moving on. In a Gada da Vida. It's easy for me to say. That didn't really come through, but it's not. Let me scroll down. I'm still trying to find. Barbara says Michael Jackson, which is correct. We've got the artist. Oh, Bella says, where am I? I'm behind the screen. And let me get rid of this and this. There we go. I am here. I'm just looking into the live chat room trying to find. Ben says Michael Jackson. And Drene65 says Black and White. I mean, it's Black or White, I think, is the name of the song. So Black and White. I've just given it away, but I think I know what you meant. Maybe a bit of a typo there. But yeah, Barbara said Michael Jackson. I'm just going to scroll up to see if anybody said Black or White above that. So yeah, if you haven't seen the video for that song, you're going to have to go and check out the video, because I believe it starts with that riff. In fact, I know it starts with that riff, that's why I played it. So it's not part of the actual song. Scrolling down. So there, I'm going to give it to Drenay65, black and white. I'm going to take that as black or white. I'm going to give you that, as they say on the game shows. I'm going to give you that particular answer correct. But I think, let me have a little scroll down. Everybody now saying, where am I? Jonathan said black or white. MJ with a question mark, correct. Bonnie said black or white, correct. Split Image 137 said the Supremes. Certainly not a Supremes song that I've heard with that intro. But yeah, right. Scrolling down, yeah, I'm just going through the comments that are saying, where's Phil? I can't see Phil. Where is he? It's just because I didn't start, or at least end the riff of the week there. When I say I didn't start the process. Why is that moved? Oh, because I moved the actual window of the likes. The likeometer just moved around. Anyway, yeah, the likeometer 374 for tonight. Thank you guys for hitting that thumbs up. You can keep on doing that, by the way. And if you want to get involved outside of the live streams, there's a Wings of Pegasus supporters group. You can join in with that if you want to, where a lot of the people watching at the moment are members of that particular group. And yeah, if you want to get involved with myself and supporting the channel and all that kind of stuff, then you can head over to patreon.com/Wings of Pegasus, and that is the address if you want to go over there. And that's something that I am on every evening. I do updates over there, and you can message me directly as well if you want to over on Patreon. And yeah, your name will go across the bottom of the live streams on a Tuesday and a Saturday. But yes, thank you guys for joining me on tonight's live stream. We do have a Phil Jam that we're going to be jumping into, and I don't know how long this particular Phil Jam is going to go on for, so let me check on the list. And it is number 33 that we're looking for at the moment, and this is 6 minutes and 6 seconds. I think it's a bit small on my screen to see, but that's what it looks like. So let's get that over there. Click on this. Right, and we are loaded up. This is... okay, we've got a picture of a Jackson guitar, and it says EDM, ambient, heavy, prog, metal guitar backing track with key change. Okay, we have a key change, and it doesn't say what the key change is, which is going to make it fun. Right, I say fun. It's going to make it interesting. We'll see what happens. So yeah, EDM, and it says this on the thumbnail as well as the title. EDM, ambient, heavy, prog, metal guitar backing track with key change. And this is from the channel Key of Jeebs, or Geebs. It's with a G. So Key of Geebs. So that is Key of a Geebz. So there you go. That is the channel. If you guys want to jam along to this yourselves, have a go with it, or you know, you can grab your guitars now if you want to. But we do have, I mean, this is going to be a relevant guitar to pick up. We do have this, and I might listen a bit to see whether I think it's probably going to be a heavier sound. It's got to be heavy metal. It's got to be a difficult one to play clean over the top of. So anyway, yeah, levels wise, who knows? We're going to see what happens, and I'll keep an eye on that live chat room to see what the levels are like. Hopefully it's all right. Not that I can do too much about it because I can't hear it myself, but let's hopefully I can hear this. Oh, chair up. Oh, this sounds a little bit exotic already. It kind of sounded like it was going a bit major. I can't really hear if I should be going. It's kind of a little bit kind of Phrygian sounding if you're talking about modes, but turn up a bit, maybe I can hear it better. Yeah, right at the end. Trying to hear it. Oh, change back to D. Quite a cool backing track, this one. did sound like it was going to an ending, but I wasn't sure what was going to happen. So I was a little bit tentative at the end there. So anyway, there we have it. I mean, that was good, but I think sometimes because, especially, what's happened with the lycometer? It's gone all over the place again. But because, I mean, when it's a really heavy sound and the guitars are, what was it? Oh, drop D. You know, it's very difficult to pick out exactly which chord is being played and whether it is going to that kind of... that kind of sound. Anyway, so I don't know, I was throwing in some stuff there that was a little bit in that way. I'm hoping that that's what it went to A minor. I'm hoping that there was a voicing in there of the strings that had that in there. Otherwise, it's probably sounded a little bit weird. But we did it. That's what happens on these live streams. We're just going to have to roll with it and hope that what we did come up with in that particular moment was something that actually worked and was part of the chords underneath. Anyway, thank you guys for hitting that thumbs up to make sure that we had the fill jam for tonight. And this is the good thing about the fill jams. What did we have last time? I can't remember, but it was something a lot different to that. Now, I mean, this is different in itself as well to the normal stuff that we get. Sometimes just get kind of blues backing tracks and you know, jazz and a bit of kind of heavy metal. And I can't remember what else we had, but we've had reggae. We've had loads of different genres. So yeah, it's cool just to see what happens. But that was quite a cool one, and maybe one that could have gone on for maybe a minute or two longer. Just exploring the avenues once you kind of get a hang of some of the voicings of the chords. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in to tonight's live stream. I'm going to be here with another video tomorrow night, of course, another analysis video, so tune in for that one if you are available. Oh, Alison, I can see, says polka. That was another one that we had, indeed. So yeah, you can't get more different than that to the backing track that we've just heard. But yes, I'm going to be live streaming again, of course, on Saturday night. So if you are free then it'd be great to see you, because that's where I'll be. I'm always live streaming on a Saturday and a Tuesday at 11 PM Greenwich Mean Time. So I'll be here for another analysis video tomorrow night. As I always say, try to stay as safe and as sane as possible in this crazy world in which we live, and have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!